Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday.
Ooh, that was loud.
Was it? Sorry. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life and finances. My name is Yamitra Jojo Water, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Oh, excuse me. I was having technical difficulties there. That's why I'm a minute or two late. I thought my clock said 7:15 and I looked and it was 7:17. Why do you have to go?
Oh, because
Good morning, JoJo. You just gave me an idea. I gotta go create a yawn pill to help you stop yawning. Because when you start yawning, then it's a reflex. Then I start. So we gotta create something to block that.
I know. Good morning,
This
Miss Barbara.
Yes,
Good
good
morning,
morning,
Kim.
everyone. I hope you guys are not yawning over there. But if you are, hold on, wait a minute. I'm gonna create something for that. Okay.
Listen, and I'm wide awake. I don't know why. Well, I know why, the scientific reason why you do it,
Yeah, exactly.
but I don't
Exactly.
know. I guess because my bed was so warm and comfy this morning. Woo, honey.
Yeah.
you turn on the thing and then you just
Good
yawn.
morning, Miss Margaret.
Good
Hi,
morning. You want to say good
y'all.
morning,
She
Miss
says.
Margaret?
Morning, Miss Margaret.
Hey, y'all. Miss Margaret is on her way to the beach this morning. Okay. Miss Margaret, you missed the other day. I was talking about you. And I don't know if it was on the show, but with a lady at work. And Miss Margaret got up and went to the beach and she was just watching. You could watch the waves come in. I was like, that's so relaxing. I want to live near the water. And I was like, why am I did say that on the show. I was like, why am I not living near the water? Just a few technical difficulties, and I'm going to be right
What's
down
the
there.
technical difficulty?
You are my technical difficulty. I
Oh,
got to make sure you in school. So I just got to
oh,
find you a new school.
there
And
are
we move
schools
to the
by the
beach.
water, Miss JoJo. There are
Exactly.
schools.
Look,
I feel a little bit disrespected and
you,
hurt right now.
you feel disrespected and hurt.
I think I'm gonna get out the car.
I love you so much.
What?
Cause I told her she was my technical difficulty. She was like, I
Yeah,
love you
that
so much.
that was a little bit just disrespectful right there.
It was all,
Just a little bit.
listen. I'm trying to get to the beach,
It
y'all.
was kind of targeted, kind of not.
It was not targeted. I'm just.
You told me I was your problem because you can't live near the beach. That's actually all the way targeted. Not
All
even
I
a little. You hit the bullseye.
Get out the car. Bye.
Oh my goodness.
She can get you to school.
Thank you.
At least Miss Margaret care about her. She said,
I mean, at least somebody.
bye,
Okay.
girl. So Mr. Shannon said, don't take offense. She want to live by the water, too.
Okay, but
Bye, Rosie.
I just
We love you.
Oh wow. Yes,
Sorry.
yes,
Oops.
yes.
That didn't go as planned. I was just saying I like the water. And Miss Margaret reminded me.
That's not what
How
you
she
were
get
saying.
back in the car?
That's not what you were saying.
Okay. Lynn is ready to go. Can we
Come
finish?
through, Rosie. Come through. Get her.
Rosie gonna open the car door up and continue the conversation. And another thing. Bye. Lord Jesus.
While you're talking.
Lynn, she said, Lynn, I hope you don't, at least you're not going to disrespect me while you talking.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I shall not.
What? In the ham sandwich. Bye.
Oh, goodness.
Jeez Louise. She gone
Yes.
now. Thank God.
Okay. All right. Well, we hope Rosie has a
And
great
look, she
day.
gonna look back and do this to me.
Oh, well,
All right,
it's
then. Come on through with us, honey. Come on through.
It's all in love, y'all.
Yes.
So that's a good segue into what I had to talk about today, guys. I'm Lynn Dimmons, America's #1 financial rebound coach. And if you stick with me today, I'm going to be sending you over to get a good freebie to help you to get started on this investing journey. If you want it, if you don't want it, that's cool. That's on you. But this is for those who really want it. So how badly do you want it? But what I wanted to talk to y'all about today, can anyone relate to this? And some of y'all probably, you just might as well go ahead and raise your hand. Raise it high. Raise your hand if you're sure, right? Raise your hand before I get started. How many procrastination queens and kings do we have out there? How many of y'all know already Christmas is December 25th? You know that you're going to be out there on December 24th at 5:59 p.m. still trying to get your shop on and the store closed at 6 o'clock. How many procrastinators? Go ahead and own it. Call a spade a spade. Do you, right? How many of you are just living in that world and you know that's going to be you, right?
It ain't gonna be
And
me this year. It ain't gonna be me this. How about I didn't know Thanksgiving was next week till yesterday?
Oh, wow. Okay. And it comes the same time every year. We have no excuse. We know that it's always on Thursday. Lord have mercy. We always know Christmas is December 25th. However, there's still those procrastinators out there. And y'all, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not pointing elbows at nobody. But what I am saying is I can relate. I used to be that person. But why, guys? I used to tell myself all the time, I don't have time to do this. I got to do this. I'm a mom. I'm a coach. I'm a this and I'm a that. I wear all these hats and I don't have time for that. That girlfriend that you know you need to touch base with, call you on the phone and you don't answer that phone because you say, I don't have time for that. It's not that you don't have time. Hear me for a second. It's not that you don't have time. It's that you don't have priorities. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to step on any toes, but if it's a brick and it hits you, so let it be. Okay? It's that you don't have priorities. When we get priorities, guys, you will be amazed at how much you can truly get done. Okay? We've talked about the 80-20 rule before on this show. 20% of the things that you do get 80% of your results. All right, go look it up if you're not familiar with the 80-20 rule. So what are the 20% of things that you need to be doing to get 80% of your results? Why? Because we're always involved in all of these tasks. And I'm the to-do list queen over here, right? My husband is the same way. We will put together a to-do list in a heartbeat every Sunday. He puts together his to-do list for the entire week so that he can go through and mark off everything that he needs to do. We're the to-do list queens and kings over here. I'm telling you. However, what I have recognized, guys, is the reason that I procrastinated, the reason that I loved living in that chaos was because I did not have financial priorities. And I want to suggest and highly recommend that you guys ask yourselves today, do I have financial priorities in my life? Am I doing truly what matters most? Am I doing the things that are really going to get me results?
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, guys, I'm Lynn Dimmons, America's #1 financial rebound coach. So you say, well, Lynn, how does this tie into my money? Girl, I'm so glad you asked. Okay? When it comes in to your money, guys, what are the financial priorities that you currently have? Are you allowing societal pressures to force you? That's a good word. To force you into thinking that you have to spend your money a certain way. And that was one of the things I dealt with yesterday with raising a financial genius. Oftentimes, we will allow societal pressures. We allow the pressure of wanting to give our children more than what we had. We allow the pressure of, right, always trying to do better, faster, quicker to get in the way of what the true priorities are for us. So you say, Lynn, how do I get to that point where I move past not having time. I don't have time for you, girl, right? I don't have time for you. No, you're not a priority right now. So how do I get to that point to where I actually identify what my priorities are? Guys, you must be intentional. You must be focused, and you must be concentrated. So what does that mean, guys? We know that intentional means that it has to be a non-negotiable. So you need to ask yourself, what are the things on your list that you need to do that are going to make everything easier? And I love Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss has a book. I can't even remember the book. Is it the 4-Hour Work Week? Let me look it up, y'all, so I don't tell y'all the wrong thing. But I do need you to go look that up just in case. Somebody look it up and put it in here and make sure we know who's the author of the 4-Hour Work Week. I think that's Tim Ferriss. And I may be wrong. I may be mixing up my gurus and experts because I'm reading too much. But anyway, I don't think there's such thing as reading too much. I digress. Okay? So when we look at it, guys, how do you get to the point where you are ensuring that you have priorities? Thank you, Tashana. You must be intentional. You must be focused, follow one course until successful, and you must be concentrated. You must look into what are those things that you can do, guys, that'll keep you so that you don't miss the journey. Let me say that again. What are those things that are going to keep you, those things that are your non-negotiables, those things that are going to keep you so that you don't miss this journey? Because we talk about how you move from not having time to accomplish things to being intentional in your priorities. And oftentimes, guys, for many of us, it just simply means that we have to Thank you for getting that link. It is Tim Ferriss. Awesome sauce, y'all. You're the best. So it's oftentimes, guys, that we got to start out and look at it. If you go through and do your to-do list, what are the things that you can do now that are going to make everything else easier, right? What is that one, two things that you need to focus on that's going to make everything easier? That's the link to the book. That's wonderful. Thank you. That's awesome. So thinking it pushes you guys. It pushes you to go through the process so that you can ask yourself the questions. Allow yourself to reflect on what is it that matters most to you. What's going to make all of these things easier? What's going to get me to my end goal? What's going to get me to help me accomplish what it is that I ultimately want to see at the end of the day? And then after you ask yourself these questions, how do you know that you were successful? How do you know that you made it? How do you know that you finally arrived? What does success look like for you is the question that you ask. And not only do you ask yourself, what does success look like, but how are you measuring that success? And then why? Why are you doing it? What is your why? What is your why for your financial relationships? What is your why for your physical relationships? What is your why for all the different things that you have to do, guys? Because truth be told, you can get stuck in a rut as a procrastinator, right? You can get stuck in that position and you continue to do things in that way. And guess what, guys? You start to live in a constant state of stress and overwhelm. And then you get to a certain position in your body and you don't even recognize, I've been living in this stress and overwhelm for so long that now it's my new normal. This is my new normal. And then I start developing diseases in my body that I didn't even know, right? Start happening, guys, because we're stressed and overwhelmed. We're living in chaos. We're doing all of these things that don't really matter. And at the end of the day, guys, don't miss the journey. Don't miss it. Simply because you have not prioritized. You have not been intentional. You have not been focused in what it is that you really want. So I implore you today, on this day, Wednesday, November 14th, to challenge yourself, to ask yourself, what is it that I really want? And don't just do it today. Because as you grow and you learn and you stretch, right, then things may change. You may want something different 5 years down the road from what you want today, but how do you know it if you don't take the time to ask yourself that? So take the time to actually recognize it and realize it for yourself, so that now that you're intentional and focused, you can do what it is that you need to do to get to your next. Whether that's you want to invest, okay, that's good and fine, but set the goal. You need a spouse that's going to be there to support you. That's okay, right? But you need to set a goal, be intentional in the things that you need to do to get to your next. That's all I'm saying, guys. Whether it's your health, Lord have mercy. Guys, remember, health is your greatest asset. Make sure you take care of that every day. Go ahead and put that as priority number one. Don't miss that journey, okay? Because all of this is intertwined and interconnected together, whether you choose to believe it or not. And because I'm America's #1 financial rebound coach, I want to be able to preserve my wealth. How do I preserve my wealth? By taking care of my health now. Because if you don't take care of your health now, that is one of the most costly mistakes that we make. Truth be told, look through your families. Look through your families. I double dog dare you to say there's not someone in your family who doesn't have heart disease or diabetes or you name it, right? Go down the list. Keep going down the list. Check those things out. Why? Because health is not a priority for us, y'all. Health should be at the top of your financial priorities. That's the only way. The #1 way, let me say that, the #1 way you're going to preserve your wealth is to take care of your health. Didn't mean to go down that road this morning, y'all, but don't miss the journey is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't miss the journey because you have not prioritized the things that matter most for you. So as we progress through this, guys, what I wanted to share with you today, what is your process that you are now going to take? Ask yourself, what is the process that I am going to take that is now going to propel me to my next? How am I going to know that I am successful? How will I measure it? And why am I doing this? That's the same way you set a goal, right? And anytime that you set goals, whether they're financial goals, we talk about SMART goals here on the show before, whether they're financial goals, relationship goals, health and wellness goals, it does not matter. The concept applies across the board. Guys, don't miss the journey because you are stuck in this state of mind saying that you don't have time, when in actuality, you have not prioritized these things for you because you don't know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, that's okay. Just don't go into tomorrow not knowing what you want. And if you say, well, Lynn, I've been doing so much for other people for so long that I don't even know what it is that I want. Guys, I'm America's #1 financial rebound coach. I'll help you with your financial goals, but you got to figure that thing out for what it is that you want to be able to get to this financial realization for. Why are you doing it? You see, our why, my husband and I, our why is that our child will not have these hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans like mommy and daddy had. Thank goodness, investing in stocks allowed us to get the money to be able to get out of student loan debt. Thank God, right? That we had the opportunity, that he positioned us to be able to learn how to invest so that we have the money to pay off. Guys, I never thought in a million years that I would be able to write a $50,000 check to the student loan company to pay off some debt. Okay? I'm not saying that to brag. I'm telling you what's real. Okay? I'm telling you what's real because there are opportunities out here for us if we have and when you have priorities. And if you don't have priorities, if you don't become intentional, if you don't become focused, if you're not concentrated, then guys, guess what? You missed the journey. And one huge way that we miss this journey, especially when it comes to our finances, is in this debt conversation. We all heard debt. Oh, don't get in debt. The scripture even tells us the borrower is servant to the lender. And I get that. But there are also opportunities. Guys, there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. Let's just say that. And many of us, me included, my husband included, JoJo included, we were all up in school together with those student loans busting out on every corner. Student loan debt is the worst possible debt. Now, I'm not saying, listen and hear me well, because I love the fact that I did have a chance to go to college, and I would not change that, okay? In spite of all the debt, I would not change that. But I do know that student loan debt is one of the worst debts because you cannot get rid of it. If you want to file bankruptcy, you think you can get rid of your student loan debt? You can get everything else off except for your student loan debt. You are still responsible. So in that sense, that's why I say student loan debt is the worst type of debt. They'll garnish your wages. They'll do everything that they can to get their money back when you have student loan debt. All right? That's the reason I say that. I'm not saying don't go to school. I'm not saying, don't do these things, because oftentimes you have to, and education is definitely a priority, at least in my book. In this house, education is a priority, right? And some people have to get student loans, but make sure that once you get in that situation that you are intentional, that you have a plan as to how you're going to get out. Make sure you hear me and hear me well. Have a plan as to how you are going to get out of that situation. That's the thing today, guys. Don't miss the journey because you're over here in stress and overwhelm. You have to figure out, how am I now going to take charge of this? What are my financial priorities? What are my health priorities? What are my relationship priorities? You determine what those things are, and then you take the steps to move in that direction. That's what I'm trying to share with you today. And for those of you who are interested and you say, hey, wait a minute, I don't know enough about this investing game, but you piqued my interest today. Guys, I have a free webinar that you can go get. It's on demand. Go to bit.ly/invest-on-demand. It gives you the basic introduction to investing, okay? So that you can start somewhere. And it doesn't matter if you are a child, if you are a parent, if you are a grandparent, doggone it, it doesn't matter if you are whoever, right? I was about to say something else, but I keep that to myself. It does not matter who you are. You can start, guys, and start today. You don't have to continue to say, I don't have time for this. No, it's not that you don't have time. It's not a priority for you right now. So get yourself some priorities. Don't miss the journey. Go to bit.ly, bit.ly/invest-on-demand. It's on demand, y'all. What does that mean? You can do it at your leisure. So if you go over there, you register for the course, you download it, you can start watching it immediately. But first and foremost, get yourself some priorities. What are the priorities for you today? Sit down with yourself. Take a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 15. Doesn't matter. Take some time for you to identify what it is that you want. And if you've identified what it is that you want at some other time in the past, then think about it again. Well, has my priorities changed, or am I still on that same path? If you're on that same path, then kudos. Continue. If not, if you've changed, you're in a completely different space now, that's okay. Readjust, modify, and get on track again and go in the direction that you choose to go to, guys. But don't miss the journey. All right, guys, I'm Lynn Dimmons, America's #1 financial rebound coach. Yeah, I said it, America's #1. Hope I didn't get too overzealous for today. but I had to get that message out to you today. And that's right. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. You will be in this situation if you do not get priorities. Identify your financial priorities, guys. Identify your financial priorities so that you can move to your next. All right, Miss Co-host, over to you.
All right, guys. Make sure that you sign up for Lynn's free class so that you can get the information that you need, because we give it here so that you don't have to live in crazy in your life and your finances. All right, so the fill thought for the day is another question. When are you going to kick out your inner roommate? So your inner roommate is that person in your head that tells you you can't do something. Your inner roommate is that person in your head that said, JoJo, is you crazy? Because you know we ain't got the money to do this. Your inner roommate is that person that said, now why you want to pack up and move over there? Now you know you don't know nobody over there. You're going to have to get a new job. You're going to have to get the kids situated. When are you going to kick out your inner roommate? Your inner roommate shows up when you decide the step one to get living past crazy is to be quiet. So when you get quiet, that's when your inner roommate gets really loud. That's when that inner roommate decides they have a voice and they need to project it, because any other time, your inner roommate ain't got nothing to say, because you're doing exactly what they want you to do. But the minute you decide to do something different, your inner roommate says, excuse me, we don't want to do that. We don't want to go over there. And you crazy if you think we getting ready to get a new job. You crazy if you think we getting ready to leave this man, because, you know, sometimes we rather deal with the comfort of crazy than the discipline of freedom. So I'd rather deal with this crazy man than do the discipline of getting past him and living my best life. And that's when your inner roommate come in. Your inner roommate is not paying rent. They ain't got none on the groceries. They ain't got nothing on cell phone, car insurance, car payment, house note. They just chilling in your head for free, and you listening to them. Like you giving them, you buying into everything that they say. Why is that?
Your inner me is your enemy.
A to the man. So when you going to kick out that inner roommate? When you going to tell them shut up? And my mother hates the word shut up. When you going to tell them to be quiet? When you going to tell them to be quiet and go sit down? And sometimes our inner roommate becomes so loud that it overpowers us and it controls our life. And that's why we find ourselves in the same situation over and over and over again. So yeah, this is where the brain science come in, my nerd part come in, because your brain wants to keep you safe and it recognizes your habits. And I'm a firm believer, y'all. I promise you, if you think about this, I'm right. And I very rarely say I'm right about a few things, but I think I'm right on this. Your daily habits take away your free will to think. So your brain is so conditioned every morning to do what it is you're supposed to do. It doesn't need you at all. Your body doesn't need you to participate in your life. It knows you're going to get up, make the coffee, complain about the kids, watch the news, go to work, come home. You know, then when you get home, you're going to fuss at the kids, do their homework, cook the dinner, watch your TV show, go to sleep. It knows that. And so your body doesn't need you because your routine is ingrained in your mind. And the minute you decide to change your routine, the minute you decide to kick out your inner roommate, your brain says, wait a minute, we don't know these people. Number one, we don't know this routine. Number two, so why are we doing this? And your brain will fight you because it assumes your daily routine is your safe routine. And because your brain wants to keep you safe, it's going to argue with you and fight with you when you decide to change. That medical study, that just blew my mind when it said it is harder for people to stop complaining than it is for somebody to come off drugs, because they have got complaining so ingrained in their brain. It is harder to stop complaining than it is to come off a drug. And I believe that. I've seen some folk that they said, I ain't gonna complain no more. And before they finish that sentence, they complaining. Just how does that happen? So
I got
today,
a remedy for that next time. Ooh, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for that. The next time, I'm putting everybody on notice. The next time you come my way complaining, I'm gonna be like, girl, you worse than a drug addict. Come on.
That's right. You worse than a drug. At least the drug addict can come up off his drug. You
Okay.
complaining, you can't stop at all. Like
Wow.
it's ingrained. And when I read that, when you think about it, it's true. And so you think about your daily habits of complaining, your daily habits of your life, and when you start
Right.
to change you realize that it's hard for you to think differently than what you see every day. It's hard for you to think differently past your routine because that's all you've ever known. So your routine is stealing your free will to think. And I was like, that's amazing. Because have you ever asked somebody, well, what do you think about that? And what's the first thing they say? I don't know. Because they know their routine. They don't know
Right.
anything else. And to think outside of that is truly hard. So when you decide to change equals challenge. There's going to be a challenge in there, but you've got to stick with it. Do the work so that you can get past it, because your brain is going to challenge you because it wants to keep you safe, but you've got to do the work to get past this. You got to kick out that inner roommate. And then I read this. So I got to read this word for word. It says, if you want to be free, you must first accept that there's pain for you to be free of. And the second thing is, your true greatness hides on the other side of that layer of pain. All of us want to be great. We all want to go somewhere and do something. It is going to require the work of it first. You can't be great, like I said, unless you make peace with your scars. That was yesterday.
Okay.
If you make peace with your scars, you're not going to get there, and your inner roommate is going to just be chilling in your head like, what's up? And you're not going to get past that at all. And you wonder why you're stuck in the same routine, why you're stuck in the same where I promise you, this is what I can promise with my whole heart. It will be hard. It will be frustrating, and it may be a little aggravating. But the peace that you feel of not living in crazy will more than make up for that frustration and that aggravation. I promise you that. It will more than make up for that, because if you stay in that crazy, you're going to have the frustration, aggravation, and you're going to be fooled. You don't want that combination. That's just bad.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. And you know what? One point, can I add this really quickly, y'all? Guys, and it's so akin to, I don't know how many moms are listening in, but when you gave birth to that child, going through that labor pain process, for me, that was one of the most scary, chaotic times of my life. The doctors tried not to scare the mess out of me, because when I went to the doctor on the day I was supposed to deliver, I thought I was just going in for a regular checkup, and she told me her machine wasn't working. I need to go over to the hospital at the emergency room and have them to check me out on their machines. I get to the hospital, y'all. The lady at the front desk tell me to get in the wheelchair. I'm like, I'm cool, I can walk. She was like, no, this is just standard procedure. Just get in the wheelchair and we're gonna take you back there. They wheel me to the back room. They connect all of these electrodes all over my body. The next thing I know, guys, here's a team of 15 crowding into my little tiny room saying the baby's gotta come today because he can't breathe. You know, my body went into overdrive, panic, stress, overwhelm, everything that I could possibly imagine in that moment. The scariest thing that I have ever done in my life. And I was like, oh no, my mama is not here. Y'all, I reverse back to a baby. My mama's not here. You go through the pain, but then when that baby comes, it's like you forget it.
Yeah.
All the pains. You don't even remember it in the same way because you're so excited that you passed through that threshold.
Yes.
That's what JoJo talking about today, guys. You got to push through the pain to get to your freedom.
Oh, yeah. You have to, because if you don't, you're going to stay in them pains. They're gonna come, and they're gonna be consistent, and they're gonna be harder. You're gonna be at a 10
Right.
always. At a 10
Always.
always. And you're gonna wonder why your head hurt. You got high. I firmly believe high blood pressure is truly, besides your eating habits, is the result of your stress that you are putting yourself in every day for
Yep.
no reason. Y'all,
Absolutely.
life is so precious, and we only get one chance at this. Please do whatever you have to do to live past crazy, to get that freedom in your life. I promise you, it is so worth it. And it's a different world on the other side of that stress. It's a different world on the other side of pain.
Yep.
And it is so
Yep.
exciting because you wake up without that on your shoulders, without it on your
Right.
mind, without it on your weighing on your body. Let it go. Let it go. Lynn, go ahead.
Don't get me started this
I'm
morning.
just saying.
Okay?
Let it go.
I've
So
been
today,
doing
guys,
good. You said a couple of lines today. Some songs automatically popped in my mind. I was like, hold it in, Lynn.
girl, you know, I do that. I do that all the time. I be singing songs in my head. So today, guys, when are you gonna kick out your inner roommate? When are you gonna do
Right.
that? Give yourself the gift of freedom and kick them out for the holiday season. Be free of all that extra. This not benefiting you at
Right.
all. Period. It's different if they benefiting you, but it's not. And then all that is yourself talking to yourself. And when you
Right.
change it, and when you on this fearless journey, the hardest challenge is the old you fighting the new you. They're gonna have a knockdown, drag out fight. And girl, you best be ready to come out swinging because they're gonna give it all they got. All they got. You hear me? Because they in it
All
to
they
win it.
got.
They in it to win it, boo. They ain't worried about you. They not. Your old you is not worried about the new you because the old you knows all your triggers, all your habits, what makes you happy, what makes you sad.
Okay.
And
Okay.
JoJo, the old JoJo is gonna pull out all the stops for the new JoJo. Oh, so you think you want to open up a bookstore? Okay, I got you. Let me go back a couple of years and point this out to you. Honey, you don't
Right.
pay rent here no more. You got to go.
Okay.
Deuces, kick that inner roommate out. Y'all,
Right.
you got to do it. Please think
Right.
about that today. All right, that is it for the Fearless Morning Show. Lynn, anything else you want to add before I close out today?
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us for today. Make sure you don't miss the journey. Ask yourself those questions that we talked about. It's not that you don't have time, it's that you don't have priorities, guys. If you're ready to get started, you say, hey, Lynn, that investing resonated with me earlier today. If you missed it, go back and watch it. But if you didn't, go ahead and go to bit.ly/invest on demand, guys, so you can get started today. No more excuses because excuses don't get results. And don't forget, if you complain, you're worse than a drug addict.
You worse than a drug addict if you complain. You tell
So make sure
somebody
you
JoJo said it. I'll show you the research, boo. Y'all know I'm a nerd. Don't question that part.
Okay.
Yeah, please understand. I got that part on lockdown. But
Okay.
please be mindful of that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Don't forget to share the show because sharing is caring. All right. And JoJo, how many we got over there on YouTube?
244 shows.
What? Wow. 244. Wait, I think yesterday you said 214. That's
Girl, listen, I had to go back. I told you I had to go back and count. Listen, Linda, I had to go back and count yesterday. So that's what I was doing last night, loading videos. So 244. So guys, if your friends and family do not have Facebook, send them on over to YouTube. And I will post that link, or maybe Lynn can post it for us so that you can have the link to share. And it is by title. So you can pick whatever title you want to share with your family, your friend, your foe, your boo, your side piece, your thing. This one girl, she said, I can't say what she said because I feel bad. So I can't say that. She said, tell a player, tell your friend, tell everybody who you know need to live past crazy. Send them over our way. We'll gladly share some great information with them. All right, guys, that is it. I hope you have a great and dry Wednesday. We're going to try to make the best out of it anyway. How about that?
Happy
Yes.
guys. Have a great day. Signing
All
off.
right, have a good one. See you bright and early in the morning.